Right, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us. As the bottom line, we say business at the speed of thought. This is where you get all the best business analysis on your TV screens across the country. We are live from our studios here at Ridge in Accra. We are live also on DSTV channel 277. You may want to join us. We'll put our number on the screen. If the conversation interests you or concerns you in any way, or you want to share your thoughts, you may want to put that up to us tonight. My name is Kwasi Efri. Now, coming up, we have two very interesting conversations. How is your experience of, what we may want to call doomsor, or maybe the power outages, as some people would put it, or how do you want to call it? And have you experienced it in your area? We want to see, or we want you to share your concerns and your thoughts with us. I'll put the number on the screen pretty shortly, and then you can share your concerns with us. We'll have a discussion what the Chamber of the IPP is thinking about the current power outage situation in the country. They think that the ECG, the Ministry of Energy, and the PURC specifically wants to pile up a lot of debt in the energy sector. We'll get into the details of that pretty shortly. And then we'll have a discussion also about the Agenda 2030. That's the Sustainable Development Goals. A team of researchers, a team of academicians who've come together to say that this is our contribution from the field of academics and to Africa, and to be precise, Ghana, being able to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. We'll have some professors joining us from the United Kingdom to have the discussion on Africa's pursuit of Agenda 2030. And a program that's also coming up in the United Kingdom. If you want to participate in it, we'll give you the details. And we may be able to round up the show on that. So stick and stay with us. This is The Bottom Line. My name is Kwasi Efri, and I will be right back. Stay with us. So let me welcome you once again from the break. This is The Bottom Line. And tonight I've said to you that we have two major discussions coming up. One is on energy, and then we are still asking the question how the power outage situation in your community is wherever you are across the length and breadth of the country, whether you are in Accra, Kumasi, Tamale, Takrade, Sefiri, Ahafo, or wherever that you are. You may want to send us how the power outage situation is in your area. Will you want to call it doomsor, or you think it is still under control? We haven't reached the era of power rationing. And secondly, we'll be discussing issues around Sustainable Development Goals, Agenda 2030, and how, as a continent, Africa, and as a country, Ghana, we will be able to be successful in our pursuit towards the Agenda 2030. We have some few videos, I think about two, that I'm going to play to you about the current power outage. It's being politicized. We don't do politics here, but let's see what the politicians think. The ministry, the people in opposition who have also been in the area of energy before, former Minister of Energy. Let's see what they think, or let's hear what they think, and then we'll come back straight into the discussions with my guest tonight.
Mr. Speaker, between 2012 and early 2017, there was nothing more demoralizing than the phenomenon we called doomsor. It was symptomatic of a dysfunctional system, and it caused widespread depression amongst businesses and households. After that experience, my government was determined that doomsor would not be inflicted upon government, upon Ghana and Ghanaians under an MPP government. Shouts will not wish doomsor away in our history. It will not. After that experience, my government was determined that Dumsor would not be inflicted upon Ghana and Ghanaians under an MPP government. And I'm glad to be able to say, so far, so good. We've managed to keep the lights on these last 7 years, even in the midst of a financial crisis.
The MPP government is riding on the foresight of the President Mahama regime, the foresight that brought into being the car power badge, the foresight that brought into being the AXA power plant, the foresight that brought into being the Ameri plant, the foresight that retrofitted the Tico plant, the foresight that turned TAPCO into a combined cycle, among others. And therefore, if you inherit a solid power sector, the least you can do is to give praise to those who came before you. However, I want to draw Ghanaians' attention to a phenomenon. As we speak, there is no Ghanaian household that has not experienced load shedding on a weekly basis, as we speak. For example, 2 days ago, we were shedding 600 megawatts. Almost every single day we are shedding power. Because we are not generating enough, and we're not generating enough because we don't have enough fuel. We are having serious fuel challenges. We have curtailed exports to Togo, Benin, we've curtailed exports to Burkina Faso, and we are curtailing exports to Côte d'Ivoire. And this is the difference between the NDC and the MPP. The NDC is candid to tell Ghanaians when we have power challenges and come out with a load shedding timetable. The MPP, being MPP, lacks candor. And therefore, when they are shedding, they don't even inform you. Those outages arise out of load shedding because we are unable to fuel the power plant.
In any case, fact be told that Dumsor never ended in the hands of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Dumsor ended under Mahama. He took responsibility, he fixed it. And then in terms of our generation capacity, he's benefiting from what Mahama and other administrations added. He just added nothing. So it was more a state of Baumia's campaign than a state of the nation.
So you had former minority leader, Honorable Haruna Idrisu. You had Dr. Kwabena Donko, former Minister of Power, former Minister of Power, claiming that the current president, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, is riding on the forecast or the foresight of the John Dramani Mahama government. And you early on heard His Excellency President Akufo-Addo touting the prowess of the NPP government when it comes to power management. I have Kojo Nsafwa Puku, who is an energy analyst online on Zoom. Kojo, good evening. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good evening. How are you?
I am doing very well. I hope you are great too.
I'm very well. I mean, it's been a good day, a very stressful day, but hey, here we are having a lovely conversation with our lights on, no lights off.
Right. Let me quickly go to Derek Hatcher Emmanuel, and I'll come back to you. Could you? Derek is a research analyst and at IES, research and policy analyst at Institute of Energy Security. Derek, thank you very much for joining us as well.
Good evening.
I hope you're doing well.
I'm fine by God's grace. Yourself?
I am doing very well. Let me begin with you, and I'll go back to Kojo pretty shortly. The president believes that we have no problem that we used to have, the power crisis, as we called it some years back, the Dumsor. Currently, he's managed it so well, and he says, so far, so good. You are from the IES. You've been analyzing this at least for the past few years, before the NPP government, and then currently also in the NPP government. Is that the case?
Thanks for the opportunity, and then good evening once again. Basically, you should be asking yourself whether maybe after the president spoke, your light was on or your light wasn't on. I'm sure if you had to just open your lines right now, you get a lot of people calling in, telling you that their lights have been off for several days or several hours intermittently. They cannot even control it. They cannot even keep count of it. And so basically, you should be asking yourself, if everything is well to do with the power sector, then probably your light should be on. And so that is the end result of it. So far as your light is not on, whilst you need it, then basically all is not well with the power sector. Definitely, he equally itemized some of the challenges. So he said they've been able to keep it on even though they are encountering some sort of challenges. And so basically, it is not that the power sector is not having any issues. And so for we at IES, or what every Ghanaian is looking at right now, we know that the power sector is not too well. We have a lot of challenges. The challenges basically now is got to do with financial challenges, because the government basically owes a lot of all the power sector players, whether it is ECG, whether it is VRA, whether it is Greatco, whether it is NGAS, who supply the natural gas to fuel the things. We don't have the money to pay for them. And so it's not because we cannot generate the power, but because the government do not have the money to be able to pay for the natural gas that will be used for it. And so basically that is it. And so not all is well with the power sector. We can only hope and pray, and that there will be more interventions, especially when it comes to financial issues. There will be more release of funds to the energy sector players, so that IPPs will not threaten you that going forward, if the government do not make any changes or do not make any provisions, there will be more doom for it. When you listen to the IPPs, they made mention of, especially the PURC, maintaining the current energy tariffs. Basically, PURC will want to maintain tariffs based on certain factors. And some of those factors is the inflation rate. One of their factors is the exchange rate. Another factor is the weighted average cost of fuel. And then we were talking about the fuel supply mix. So whether we are doing more of hydro or we are doing more of thermal, these major factors have been taken into account. And so we should be asking the PURC, is the inflation rate going down, that you want to now maintain energy tariffs or electricity tariffs? You should be asking the PURC whether the exchange rate is going down, or maybe they are having exchange rate depreciation losses. And so if these factors are not maybe analyzed very well, then probably we wouldn't want to face the real challenge of maybe increasing tariffs, but we want to do more political decision making, where we want to now reduce tariffs, and then in the long run it will affect the books of ECG. And so not all is well, but we can only hope that major policy making will be taken into consideration, and all the energy sector players will be engaged extensively, and then we will be more frank with ourselves, because the energy sector is the heart of the economy of Ghana. When the energy sector is down, you can't do anything. You've seen that the transport unions have issued communicate that very soon transport fares will go up. It's because of the fuel pricing that is going up.
Right.
And the fuel pricing, we know, it's just the exchange rate and the inflation. And so if we are not more frank with ourselves, and then we will just be lying to ourselves.
But Derek, you do agree with me also that the IPPs mention all of these factors, including what PURC is trying to do, which are, all of these are factors of the issues we should be looking at. The other major factor includes the fact that they actually mention it, ECG's operational costs and the losses they have, which they are not able to recover at the end of the month. And so even though they make commitment towards the IPPs monthly, there is still the problem of insolvency. And it is not only an issue of the PURC. Of course, we think that PURC should be up on its feet, but PURC currently is considering consumers. And so there are other factors which should be looked at, including ECG's operational costs and losses.
Very true. ECG is not only dealt with that. Across the value chain, whether it is generational issues or transmissional or maybe distributional, we always have technical and commercial losses. And so it's not only with ECG, but when you have technical and commercial losses, that is not the concern of the average consumer, because that is supposed to be something that ECG should be able to get hold of. Whether it is Greatco, which is having transmissional losses, they are supposed to be able to have ways to reduce it. And so we are having transmissional losses of about 5% for Greatco. ECG is doing almost 15% commercial or technical losses. That is almost like 20%. And so it means that if you give ECG 1,000 megawatts to sell, basically they are going to just account for 80% of it. And even the 80%, they have revenue collection measures which are not that in line with it, because some of them, they are not able to retrieve some of the money. And even government in itself is also owing them. And so when they have revenue challenges and they're also not getting the right measures for it, then basically you'll be having issues. With the IPPs, they are doing their best. But when they do it and you cannot retrieve the money and pay them, then definitely they'll also have issues with you.
Is the situation gloomy for you at IES?
Pardon?
Would you say the situation is gloomy for you at IES, I mean as researchers?
As a researcher, not quite good, because when you have technical and commercial losses, these are people that have been trained to deliver on their mandate. And so when they are not able to deliver, and then you're having increasing commercial and technical losses, then there's a question mark in that regard. Regarding the value chain, all those who are encountering, or maybe who are encountering commercial and technical losses, there should be a question mark on them. Regarding government owing ECG, if the government is able to make its commitment and make all the financials available for them, then definitely they'll be able to do it. For the ordinary consumer, what they are concerned about is that if you are charging me, then make the power available to me. Now you are not able to make the power available and you are also charging me for it, then what is the end benefit?
Right.
If we take access to electricity across Ghana, we've not been growing at the rate that we want to do. Even in this 21st century, there are some people that do not even have light at all. And so if you realize the government made mention of 88.8%, that was just partly some 5% increment as compared to 2016. So definitely not quite gloomy, but there's a lot that needs to be done, especially with renewable energy when we want to achieve universal access to electricity.
Kojo Safapoku is an energy expert. I introduced him earlier on. Kojo is live on Zoom with us. Kojo, I'm sure you've been listening to Hache Derek Emmanuel, who is a researcher with the Institute of Energy Security. He says that even though the situation is not gloomy, there is still needs to be more. There is still more to be done, and the president believes that so far so good.
My brother, good evening to your viewers.
Right.
I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
So now when I have Ima, who is a research analyst, talk about financial situation, that's why people's lights are going off. Can he tell me on the daily basis, do we have to take money and go and stand at somewhere to pay for electricity for it to come on the following day? Is there anywhere that somebody has to take money from the bank, go stand at the kiosk, pay money before Ghanaians have light, so that if there is no money, Ghanaians will not have light that day? Is there any such situation in this country? You know, we should stop this thing where people just take some people's rhetorics and repeat it on national television. This thing of there is no money, that is why light is going off, is a financial problem, that's why light is going off. If you do not know why in the last 3 weeks lights are off, just say that, look, I'm not aware. But when people come on TV and say that it's financial, what's financial? We've owed IPP's money since 2012. We've owed IPP's money since 2017. We've owed IPP's money. Today, we owe IPPs. Can you tell me any IPP that has shut his plant down because government owed them? None. Can you tell me anybody in the value chain except WAPCO, who once about a month or 6 weeks ago shut the plant down because they have sent some emails and the plant were off for 2 days. So WAPCO, because government owed them and they've sent emails to Ghana, GMPC, and they were not getting any response, the lights were off for 2 days and government made payments in 2 days. So when we keep saying that it's because of money that people's lights are going off, it's mind-boggling, and it's very confusing for me when we have analysts and research from IES who say things like that. My brother, in the last 3 weeks, we've had a combination of problems. What nobody and Mr. Kwabena Donko, who stood at Parliament, will not tell you is that we get about 50 scarves of gas from Nigeria, N-gas. M-gas have been undergoing their yearly maintenance. So we were not getting any gas from N-gas. So it means that we were reduced by 50 scarf in the Tema enclave. So we need to now bring gas from the Takoradi enclave to the Tema enclave in the reverse flow. Now, what you now have is a reduced capacity in your fuel supply. That is not because anybody owe anybody. VRA, as I speak to you now, do not owe NGAS. Secondly, there is a situation where TAPCO and TICO are going through various stages of maintenance, and is a yearly maintenance that they go through. Now, the specific problem which made a lot of disturbance in the system last week, Thursday and Wednesday, was Send Power, which generates 360 megawatts, went off because of a fault. Now, when they went off,
and not financial.
Count on. We don't have to pay, like I said earlier, we do not have to pay them on a daily basis for them to work. So why would Send Power go off because they owe? Government has owed these IPPs and they still owe them and they still work. Send Power went off because their machine, something tripped and Send Power went off. They generate 360. In the evening, we wanted to rely on the peaking plant, which is Buildam. Buildam said that there was a vibration in one of their systems. It wasn't communicating well, so their unit 2 couldn't come on, which made part of the country go into darkness for about a period of 1 to 2 days, about 48 hours. As I speak to you today, I don't think anywhere in this country, apart from it's a localized problem, maybe a transformer or windy situation, no load is being shared as I speak to you this evening. No load. So when people start saying that Doomsaw is back, this is back, it is, look, Doomsaw is a tree word. If your light goes off and come on and you want to call it Doomsaw, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But when you now start talking about is a financial situation, is that what is new in the energy sector? All the things he said, VRA is old money, Ghana gas is old money. Is it new? It's not. So let's stop this thing where we keep repeating this thing as it's financial, as if every morning somebody has to go to the bank, take money out and go and buy fuel to power or go and buy electricity for Ghanaians to use. That's not how the system works. So government indebtedness to this sector value chain is known, but it's not the reason the light has been going off. And I've explained to you the maintenance going on in NGAS, so there's no gas coming from Nigeria, the Send Power shutdown, and some of the things that the maintenance going on TICO and TAPCO.
So yes, I mean, we all agree that, of course, there are two problems, technical and financial. And you are saying that the current problem we are facing is not an issue of financial.
I never told you the reason the light goes off is financial. I'm
saying
the legacy debt in the sector has always existed, but that's not the reason your light goes off.
I'm saying
your light don't goes off because there's a financial problem in the sector.
No, I'm saying that you're saying that the problem we are facing now is not a financial problem, but a technical problem.
Yes.
Which is NGAS issue, Send Power turning off for something.
NGAS basically doing maintenance, Send Power tripping last week, TICO and TAPCO going through their annual maintenance, and Build Unit 2 not working last week as at Thursday and Friday. So that is the reason why lights have not been stable in the last couple of weeks.
So, Kojo, I'm asking because I want to ask you specifically that all of this gives me the impression that you have enough information. Are you able to tell us when this is going to be over?
It's over. As I speak to you now, it's over. The NGAS, we are getting some flow from NGAS, but it's not up to the 50 mm scarf that we are getting. So now, as at Friday, the NGAS flow started as a Friday, Saturday. So now we are getting some flow from NGAS. So VRA receives some flow from NGAS. It is not up to the pressure that we want, which is the 50 mm scarf. Okay? Send Power is working. The Buildam peaking, the Unit 2 in Bu is working because they have resolved that problem. The TICO TAPCO is still under maintenance. That one is not back on. But look, as I speak to you now, there's no load being shed this evening. Anybody whose light is off should call ECG. It's a localized fault. But there's no load being shed this evening.
Okay, so I'm asking because in the last 2 months or last 3 months backwards, I never had to think about the problem of going home to meet a power outage or to meet darkness or to think about how I was going to charge my phone. But yesterday, for instance, I slept in darkness up till about 11:30 in the evening. You are telling me that from tonight, if I go back home and my lights are out, it's either a localized problem or I should call the ECG.
Have you ever called ECG when your light goes off?
Yes, I do all the time. And I know their number offhand.
And what did they tell you? No, what did they tell you when you called them?
Well, yesterday I didn't call, but usually I call. And they tell me...
Well, when your light goes off, please call. When your light goes off, please call ECG.
Tonight, when my light
sit
goes
at
off.
home and think that my lights are off because it's doomsday. Call ECG. ECG will tell you why your light is off. Look, we have localized electrical and technical problems, transformers all over the country. Let's not assume that when your light goes off, it's doomsday or is a technical problem where, it's load shedding. That's my problem. Most people just assume that because my light went off, it's load shedding. You could have a peculiar problem in your area. Unless you report it, okay, ECG can fix it. Maybe your transformer is overloaded. In the evening when everybody comes home, that transformer overloads and shut down. You need to report it. When you report it and they tell you, no, my brother, there's nothing going on in the area, it's Gridco that is asking us to share load, then you can tell me in this conversation that, Kujo, when I called ECG, I was told that we are shedding load. Okay. But if you sit at home and your light goes off and you don't call ECG, we can't assume that, because as I speak to you now, I have the data for this evening and there's no load being shed.
Derek, I don't know if you've been listening to Kojo, but I'll give you 2 minutes each and then I round up. And this one says, good evening, the free. Even if there is doomsday now, it is far, far better than in 2012 and 2017. Please, you yourself can be justified. God is watching us. Let's be honest in ourselves. Titi from Medina. Titi, I just told you that in the last 2-3 months, I never had to bother about power outage. But yesterday, and I think one of the days last week, I did. But Kojo is telling us we are going to face that no more. We thank you for such an issue. God bless you. The Energy Crisis Agenda on board. I'm Sir Boot from Kumasi in Abreport. Stephen Forsen. Stephen Forsen says, I'm watching you. I'll put up my issues on paper and present to you. Stephen, we can host you next week. And you are a digital man, so we'll talk to you about the issues of digitization and maybe get into what the presidential candidates are promising so far in the space of IT and digitalization. So let me come to you now. Derek, I'll give you 1 minute. Kojo says, yes, there are issues, but it is never financial because financial issues have never been the problem.
Thank you for the opportunity once again. I'm sure he didn't say that financial issues has never been a problem.
No, he says it is not the reason why IPPs turn their power
off. It's not because of financial issues. Whatever thing that he wants to ascribe it to, it's up to him. But I'm telling you that these are the situations that we are having. Whether you are telling me it is annual maintenance or it is not annual maintenance, it's not Kojo that will need to be speaking to people. We all need to be frank with each other. And so if he is also saying that it is more of people having their annual maintenance and co, and it's got nothing to do with financial, so be it, that is his concern. But I'm telling you that from our checks and relevance, we've realized that it is more of financial issues. If it's not financial, he's already even accepted that there are financial issues already. And so basically at this particular point in time, it is not financial. Let me ask you a question. If you're having financial issues with someone, should the person now give you notice as to when you want to trigger the reverse of it? No. And so if you can now accept that you have financial issues with them, but what is happening now is not because of it, you are just looking for a way to just find an excuse for what is happening. But the ordinary consumer is not more concerned about your explanations or jargons or whatever thing. If the ordinary consumer cannot have light in his or her house once he is prepared to pay for it, then you should be having more to be able to explain for that. And so for him, that is his choice. But I'm telling you that these are the situations that we are facing in the energy sector. As long as we continue not to be frank with each other, then probably we will always continue to have these divergent views. Thank you.
So Derek, someone says I should ask you whether wherever you are speaking to us from now, you have your lights on. And then if you have them on, do you not think we are in a better situation? That's the person. Well, you didn't add your name. Please do add your name next time, else I may not be able to read. Derek, 30 seconds.
The person should have rather even given us a live report from where he or she is. And then when you are talking about this doomsday, it is not only peculiar to one particular situation. It is just cutting across. So maybe you might have light, the other person will just be having some load shedding or whatever thing that it is. And so not me confirming to you that I have light or I do not have light, that will let you know whether the thing is now stabilized or not. You should just open it up and then just do a survey across Ghana whether it is open up. Even if it is open up, you are concerned about the consistency of it. Is it going to be consistent over this period going to Easter holidays or to the rest of the month ahead of us, or it's just going to be a 9-day wonder? These are the major concerns. Businesses are not concerned about putting it on just for a night or 2 weeks, and then the other ones, they are going to incur a lot of operational losses. Not that. They are more concerned about having a stable power supply.
Could you, in 1 minute?
Well, my brother, we've now gotten into the realms of 9 days wonder. Look, nobody can sit on any television and promise that lights will be on next week. I can't even promise you light will be on tomorrow. Okay? The situation is that we run an electrical and a mechanical system. Anything can happen tomorrow. We pray to God that inshallah nothing happens going into Easter and the lights will be on. What we know, and I don't have a reason to lie. I don't have a reason to look. My lights are on. Everybody who has texted you, their light is on. Like I said to you, I would prefer Ghanaians to let it be an ECG problem. When your light goes off, please call ECG. Let's not just assume. Because look, there are a lot of areas now that their transformers are overloaded. So look, my brother is talking about issues that for me, I think that is borders on rhetoric. The energy sector problem is known, documented. I know of it, and as the chairman of Dr. Baumia's Energy Committee, we are going to bring out policies to look at the facility, the funding, and the fuel, okay, so that we solve these energy problems in the long term. We are going to bring on policies that Ghanaians will know that we are in the know, we understand. And if anybody understands this sector, I'm one of the few people that understand this sector very well, because I don't lie to myself and I don't keep my head in the sand. Okay, so that is why I'm saying that we know the problem. We wouldn't lie about the problem. Okay, so but going on and on about it's financial. The question I always keep that, is it new? I mean, is anybody going to come into power tomorrow and solve that financial legacy? That $2.4 billion indebtedness that has been there, is anybody going to solve it tomorrow? No, it's not. Okay, so if you're asking Ghanaians to solve that 2.4 billion, then you're going to increase taxes or increase tariffs. So look, we know the problem. We are trying to give Ghanaians affordable, cheap, reliable electricity. But maybe it's not now. Maybe it's in the future. But what Ghanaians are concerned now is that their light stays on.
Right.
If lights are on, everybody's happy.
All right.
And I don't think that we will concern ourselves too much about whether it's financial or not. Government is doing its best to keep the light on. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much to Kojo. So Kojo and Derek. Kojo, let me take the opportunity to congratulate you. And remember that we'll come back to you for maybe a one-on-one on your projections and plans, your preparations in the energy sector entirely towards the campaign. Of course, we are interested in the business aspect of it, and we are interested in keeping the lights on. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. You know me, I am media friendly. I don't shy away.
Right.
I will tell you as it is, and I don't have a reason to lie to anybody.
Right. So thank you very much, Kojo and Derek. Derek Hatcher Emmanuel is a research and policy analyst with IES. Kojo Nsafwa Poku is an energy analyst and the head of the committee for energy for DMB's campaign. So that does it for the discussion on the energy. I told you that tonight we're having two major discussions. The first segment hinged on that of energy and keeping our lights on, and we are still receiving the messages. If you put them across, we'll try as much as possible to read them. I'm getting loads of them, though. The second segment of our discussion is the Agenda 2030, and I have two professors from the United Kingdom, specifically the University of Bradford. Professor Kweku Adams is the president, Ghana Scholarly Society in the United Kingdom, also with University of Bradford. And Dr. Joseph Koju Dankwa is an associate professor at the University of Bradford in UK. You want to stick and stay with me? I'll be right back. Stay with us. Right, welcome back from the break. This is still the bottom line. We say business at the speed of thought. We are live on DSTV channel 277. We are live from our studios here at Rage in Accra. I currently have Professor Kweku Adams, the president of Ghana Scholarly Society in the United Kingdom, and Professor Joseph Koju Danko, Associate Professor, University of Bradford, UK. Thank you very much for joining us tonight, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Right, so let me start from you, Prof. Kweku Adams. The Ghana Scholarly Society in the United Kingdom. I'll briefly jump into Agenda 2030, the Sustainable Development Goals. But what is it about the Ghana Scholarly Society? If you hear it, what exactly is it?
Thank you. I'm sure you've heard the saying, there is strength in numbers. I want to disagree with that, that there is strength in right numbers. So when we have the right people with the right skills, the right knowledge, doing the right things, they can do a lot. Because as you very well know, any number multiplied by 0 is 0. So we, the academics in the UK, particularly Europe and other parts of the world, decided to put ourselves together to bring our expertise together to look at some of the challenges that Ghana faces, and for that matter, Africa faces, for us to be able to see what we can do to contribute to the growth of our mother Ghana. Thank you.
Website, and I realized you are particularly focused on sustaining the economy, ensuring that the environment is also sustained, ensuring that we grow employment in the area of employment, in the area of trade, in the area of business, and so on and so forth. So let me begin by asking, what do you think the problems are? If we want to consider Agenda 2030, for example, which is the baseline for development in all areas, for poverty eradication, for public health, and so on and so forth. You say that there are peculiar challenges that Africa faces. What are these peculiar challenges that we face as a continent?
Well, over the last couple of years, if you look at the global north and global south countries, we in the developing countries or emerging economies have been producing raw materials, the benefits of the West, basically. I'll take one example. If you look at the cocoa industry, for example, I understand from previous data that it is worth over $400 billion. Now, Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire gets just 10% of that value.
Exactly.
So issues regarding converting what we produce, manufacturing, processing, it requires ideas. So what we have decided to do, first of all, we've got 3 agendas so far to address some of the challenges that Ghana faces. Mm-hmm. And the first one is we have partnered with British Council to look at entrepreneurial development. Mm-hmm. How do we train the young people? How do we support them, those with business ideas? How do we teach them how to do accounting, how to recruit people, how to retain them, how to continue a business to make it successful? That's one thing that we've taken on board. The second one is, how do we get Ghanaian businesses in global spaces? Why is it that most Ghanaian businesses just get stuck in Ghana? They don't move beyond West Africa. I mean, if they're ever able to go to any country beyond Ghana or Africa. Mm-hmm. So that's the next thing. We're going to work with businesses, we're going to do research and provide ideas as to how Ghanaian businesses can go abroad. And the last one is gender in management. I think we have underutilized the value that women bring to the table in Africa. And in any country that you go that is developing or growing or emerging, you see that the involvement of women is key to that. No wonder we've got most of the top stock markets asking for gender quotas, that you have to increase the women on board to this percentage before you can be able to list on this stock exchange. So I think that's one of the areas we're going to address by looking at gender in management. How do we get more women involved in decision making? When you think about African women, market women, education system built around women. When a child is sick, the father will tell him, go to your mother. That, I think we have not harnessed it to the full potential. That's one of the things that we're going to be focusing on. 3 objectives for now.
So I would be coming to, for example, structural development. They need to go through certain processes to be able to For example, eradicate poverty. We need to be able to produce and produce more. You have these thematic areas. Somebody would say that you may want to include, or you needed to have included leadership. People think that the processes of structural development, some of these things that you have stated, building your entrepreneurs, setting lots of startups in your country, providing the conducive environment for them, for example, to thrive, and supporting the private sector to grow, for example, are known by our leaders, but they don't have the political will, or somebody would say because of corruption, they don't get it done. And so we are still the same way we are, and that is why we are different from the other parts of the world. That's why we are peculiar. As a nation, is this something that you have considered?
Yes, if you look at the way economies grow, when you look at the theory or the process of economic development, there are three economic agents, what I call economic agents. In every economy, you've got the people or the citizens, you've got the government, and you've got the firm. Now, this is how I just do a quick economics and how economies grow, just before I can address your question about leadership. When people work, they do two things with their money. They get money, they do two things. Either they save it into the banking system or they spend it. Either way is good. If they save it, it goes to the banks. If everyone works and saves money and the banks gets more money, they can now basically the laws of demand and supply will set in. There's more money to be given out as loans. Therefore, the cost of borrowing that money, which is interest rate, goes down. People can afford to borrow money and then expand businesses or start businesses. Once that happens, they recruit more people, and then people get more money. They spend and they save, and you see gradually the economy begin to grow. The only role that the government needs to play is to create an enabling environment. I think for many years, Africa has depended too much on leadership, which has not been working. And therefore, it is time for us as individuals to see what we can do. If you look at the UK, for example, things run with or without the government. The government's job is to basically put in place policies. And that is what we are about to do with the British Council, providing training for entrepreneurs. What can we do to help current businesses go abroad, take their businesses abroad? What are the rules or regulations of competing internationally? How do they prepare themselves to go abroad? These are the current issues that we're going to be focused on, issues that real issues that we can actually be able to help and see businesses grow outside of Ghana.
So, do you think, I am particularly involved, and let me come to you for the purposes of time, but Prof, I think that we should have a full show and get into the economics of the country and how to be able to get our people oriented. But let me pick you pretty shortly, Professor Joseph Kojo Dankwa, on the preparedness. I don't know how regular you've been in the country with all of these things that you are doing. I am looking at how achievable sustainable goals, sustainable development goals from all sectors of the economy can be achieved or can be pursued. The mindset of the people. You are a human capital developer. You train people. You analyze the mindsets of people. Are we ready?
Yes, thank you very much. Good evening, everybody. Yes, Ghana is ready. I'll take it from the human capital perspective. And I'll zoom in specifically with the free SHS. The free SHS is a very fantastic policy. However, the problem here is we have not designed a program to capture the benefit of these talents. After SS, what next? Now, currently, with the UK government is implementing a policy that I'm part of it that is called Help to Grow.
Right.
After the COVID, the government has designed, we came in as scholars, has designed a program to help small, medium-scale enterprises to grow. That is what we call it, Help to Grow. Now, after the free SHS, all of us cannot progress to the next level. What are the policies, programs to harness these talents for our collective development? What is it? After free SHS. But in the UK, the system is designed that after every level, any individual can find his or her way into the system.
Into at least a permanent job. So that's what we are talking about, how to be able to sustain these young ones and prevent the issue of unemployment for us. Yeah, that's the main bane.
Yes, but we in Ghana have left the system for politicians to take this initiative.
Yes.
We scholars have to come in with data, with policies to advise this government. So that is why we Ghanaians in the UK for the last 2 years have come together. How best can we contribute positively to the development of our mother Ghana? So we as scholars, we believe in data. We look at the trend. We look at policies. What is the best policy? So we are coming together with various expertise, professors who have been in academia for 30 years. Some of them are young, like me, I've been in academia for more than 7 years. Now, we are coming to support government, private sector, and the society. How best can we harness our capital? That is the human capital.
Right.
To propel this country into its or whatever we want to achieve. So we are not supporting anybody, but we are supporting Ghana.
Right. So
we are here.
I'm happy about what you say, but forgive me for the purposes of time. Unfortunately, my time is up. So what we'll do is that we are happy that technocrats want to get into the, let me not say political space, but economic management space, so that we can have lots of mindsets and ideas. But let me quickly pick you, Professor Kwaku Adams. You have a program coming up, a conference coming up. You're receiving articles and publications and people who want to present their papers. Briefly, what is it about? What date is it, and who can participate?
Well, we have put ourselves together, organized a conference on SDGs, and our focus is to look at using multidisciplinary approach to solving some of the challenges that we face, because some of the issues that we face are very complex. You know, I think one of the worst aspects of Africa's education system is to tabulate all the marks of everybody. Is that this one came first, this one came second, this one came third. What that does is stops knowledge sharing. So we're going to put these ideas together, come together, discuss some of the pressing issues on inequality, on poverty, on gender, on how to grow businesses in Ghana. And this is going to happen on June 19th to 21st this year. And our website is ghscholars.com. And those who want to participate can submit their papers. And the conference basically said the amount to pay to join the conference is £100. Now, before I round up my answer to that question, I just want to give you just a minute to just give you some statistics here.
30 seconds.
If you look at the youth, why this is very important,
right?
You know, why what we're doing is very crucial.
Right.
If you look at UK's population statistic, for example, UK in the 1900s, that's over 100 years ago, their population was just 32 million. As we speak now, UK's population is 68 million. I just rounded off to the next nearest figure. Germany's population as of 1900 was 56 million. Okay, as we speak today, Germany's population is 84 million.
Right.
USA's population in 1900 76 million. Now it's 336 million. Canada 5.5 million, and now it's 39 million. Let's take just 3 countries in Africa. 3 countries. One, Nigeria. There was no data. There's no data. This is just based on normal Google search. Okay. Nigeria's population in 1960, which is when they got independence, was 43 million.
Prof.
So now it's 230 million.
Wow.
Okay.
So, yes.
If you look at Ghana, 1957, 6 million. Now it's 35 million. Where is the planning? What are the policies?
Okay.
What are we doing to provide businesses and great jobs for this growing population?
Prof,
if we don't take care.
Let me hold you on next week. I don't know how your schedule is, your lecture hours is, but let me hold you on next week. Let's have a minimum of 30 minutes to an hour to get into the details of all of these. And I'm sure that Professor Joseph Kojo Dankwa will also join us. So I have Professor Kwaku Adams and Professor Kojo Dankwa from the United Kingdom joining me tonight. And it was about SDGs. And they're having a program. You can join them, ghscholars.com. It's happening in the United Kingdom. I'll give you more details next week. My name is Kwesi Free. Good night.